All right, I'm starting this off. It's March 1st, clean slate. I'm done with the bullshit. I'm sitting in my sunroom with my dog and my two cats as a 33-year-old single lady who is enmeshed in a legal battle with her past employer. And I'm watching all these people in their crazy ass outfits, and I can see all the Mardi Gras floats literally from my window. And you know what? It's like stuff is bad, but life is so good. Like in actuality, I'm so blessed. I'm gonna pay my rent today and figure out the rest, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna collage today and write a lot of scripts. What are you doing this weekend?
So this weekend, well, Sunday is the Oscars, so I'm doing that. Which I always forget about the Oscars because I feel like people here in Rhode Island do not get that excited about them, and so it's easy to forget that they're happening if you're excited about them. But like it's impossible to forget that the Super Bowl is happening. But it's like the Oscars. It's even though it's very meaningful to me, it's very easy to forget because most people don't even bring it up. But I'm also conducting one of my little personal deranged social experiments, which is I went to a restaurant last week and sat at the bar because it was just me, and the bartender was very cute and like as soon as I walked in, like made eyes with me and then was like chatting me up, talking to me, and I was like, huh. I'm like, I wonder what his deal is. Um, just being like super friendly. So like I left a big tip, which I would do anyway, but like made sure that it was like, a little more than big. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back there because I had overheard him saying that he works 3 days a week, which like God the life. Although I'm sure he works very hard, but I guess he does like super long days, just like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was like, I'm gonna go back there on Friday. I'm gonna sit at the bar again, and just kind of see what happens. Which like normally I would not like, go back to someone's place of work, but I'm like, it's a bar, and people go to the same bar over and over, and that's a normal thing. So I go, and but I was like gonna bring a friend with me this time. So I was like, well, I'll bring a friend so it doesn't look that weird, and also so that I can like get a second opinion. And so when I got there, there weren't two seats like where I sat last time. There were two seats at the other end of the bar. And what didn't occur to me is that like it's one of these really long bars so there was like a different bartender for the section where I sat down. But I was like, well, whatever, like he can see me. So it's fine. He'll be able to see that I'm here. Um, well, first off, my other friend was running way too late, and like I ended up having to go, so I could have just sat in his section. But I'm kind of glad I didn't because he definitely saw me and like even like walked by at one point. I was like, hey, but like totally different vibe, totally different energy. So now I'm like, is this like an exotic dancer situation where like he's just like Mr. Charming if you're in his section? I mean, I know that like bartenders can be that way, but I was sort of like, wow, like the difference was like disarming in like the vibe of it all. But I'm going to because it's an experiment. I'm like, all right, wait, go back again. Sit in his section one more time and like see what happens. Because if he's cold, like see if he's cold to you in his section, or like see what a second section sitting does for you. I also feel like, and it's such a short amount of time to go back, but I also feel like a bartender who's aware that you're going to like possibly be coming in a lot is like going to behave somewhat differently if they think you're going to be like a regular. Like I don't think they'll necessarily like because this is such like this area is such like a tourist town that I feel like he's probably used to being like, okay, I just got to like really turn it on because like they're going to be here one time and like give me a tip and go. So I'm like, okay, how does he act if he thinks that like I might be like a regular?
Okay, I love this. Okay, well, first of all, I totally forgot that the Oscars are tomorrow, so thank you for reminding me. I will be watching by myself with the animals. Okay, and as a former bartender, I have so many thoughts and ideas on this. Okay, the first thing I have to tell you is that if the first day you visited was a Thursday, he likely had the bar to himself, right? Because Monday through Thursday is slower. I bet you on Friday and Saturday, because it's busy, him and another bartender split the section. And then I bet on Sunday, again, it's one bartender. So a lot of bartenders hate when they have to split the bar. And obviously, if he was like swamped, that could be another reason why he was kind of bitchy. So if you are going to go back and sit in his section, I would recommend doing it on a Thursday when it's actually just him bartending, if I'm correct in my assumption, of course, so that way you can get a true read. Because I've also been an exotic dancer. Let's be real. So I don't think it's an exotic dancer bartender flirting situation like if he was just making eyes, because I feel like he either would have laid it on way more thick if he thought you were just like a one-time customer, and then obviously was like, this man's gay, so let me like really get the juices flowing. So yeah, like I would go back. But wait, also, do you drink now? Because now I'm like, oh my God, are you really sitting at the bar ordering Diet Cokes? Because I kind of live. That's kind of amazing. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, but yeah, I need to watch the Oscars tomorrow too, so I'm gonna take that as a reminder. Oh wait, I also would like to know if you're gonna have eyes on like a final revenue report from that crazy friggin' show with that crazy theater wannabe actress lady.
Yes, I do love this. I feel like this is a nice compromise for, like, as you know, I love a phone call. I like talking on the phone. I don't know, like, I approve of most of the cultural trends. Um, no, I don't. What am I saying? Well, like, I approve of things that we're doing, like, that we're no longer doing the way people talk about, like, not being talking on the phone anymore. Like, I tend to approve of, like, social adjustments like that, but, like, I miss phone calls, but I also understand that it's just tricky for some people and like who has the time and blah blah. So that's why like the whole voice memo thing works for me because I'm like I'm just gonna send you what I would have said to you over the phone in 2 minutes and then you just get to that whenever you get to it. It's fine. And also you and I are those friends who, like I sent you that tweet about where it's like, we don't really say like, okay, bye, or like, have a good night. We're just like, girl, I'll just pick up where we left off tomorrow. Yes, I think your bartender assertions are correct. So this is a bar at a restaurant, so like I'm able to order food, so I don't look super weird just sitting there getting a Diet Coke, because I know how annoying that is. Um, they actually also have really good mocktails. So like last night when I went, I actually didn't want food. I was like already ate, but I ordered like an overpriced mocktail, and I still tip very well. The thing is like for me, so I always tip 30% regardless. Literally, you can like throw the plate at my head and I'm going to give you 30% because that's just what I think a decent human being does. But like if you're good and he was like even if I didn't think he was cute, he was objectively a very good bartender. Like checked on me, like was just and he was working his ass off. Like it was very busy. Like he like because I actually didn't go on a Thursday. I went on a Friday. So he was being super nice even on a Friday. But I was like, I was literally like the first person in his section, and I was right where the servers all come to get like their drinks. So like I feel like he could have ignored me a little more, and it still wouldn't have been super weird. But he like really made an effort and blah blah blah. And so I tipped him like I think it was like tipped him like 45%. Like it was a lot to the point where I was also like when he was sort of like not paying attention to me when I wasn't in like I say his section, but like it's just a long bar. It's just like he was handling the other half of the bar. But I was kind of like, ooh, like whenever I've tipped like that, the next time I've gone in, like I get like the fucking red carpet, which is sad because you shouldn't get red carpet just for like 45%. But, you know, people suck. So like I kind of was like, well, if nothing else, I'm definitely going to get like some kind of attention because it's like, oh, there's the guy that left me 45% on what was already like a pretty big bill because I like ordered a lot the first time. So yeah, I'm curious to see what will happen. I think you're right. I think I do though need to go in on a lesser day, but my plan is I think I'm gonna try to go in because I've at this point I've tried like Friday and got attention, but it was in his section, and I've tried like Friday, but I was not in his section. And then I'm gonna try today, and but I'm gonna try like during that like sort of weird middle period where like lunch is kind of done, but like dinner isn't ramping up yet, just to kind of see how that goes. Because like if honestly, if he's still like cold during that, I think I can call it. But you know that your boy did some detective work because you know you raised me right. You taught me how to do my detective work. By the way, if we ever put this out and people listen to it, for anyone that's listening, like Alexis has tried every career but a private detective, and if you know anything about her, you would know how hysterical that is. But yes, I all I had was his first name and the place that he worked at, and I still found his Instagram. And something I think is very curious is that not a ton of posts, not a ton of social media activity, but and no girlfriend or wife to speak of, which doesn't mean anything. But like he is, his whole Instagram is about like being an uncle. Like he loves being an uncle. He like took his nieces and nephews to Disney, which I will also be doing next month. He's just very, very like uncle centric in a way that I feel, and you can give your opinion on this, in a way that I feel straight men normally do not freak out about being an uncle like that. I don't think. Okay, yes, as for crazy theater lady, no, like this is, and this is just proof that like she doesn't really have a theater company because like her show ended. Okay, like girl, you got like a major newspaper to give you a good review, like you begged, borrowed, and stole to like make this thing happen and get reviewed or whatever. And like this happened after the last show as well, although it wasn't as well received. But like there's no post show like, okay, how did we think that went? Like, what do we want to do? Like she loves to sort of talk about like projects like during like talkbacks and stuff. But like, you know, when you have a theater company, you're like, okay, so like let's come up with a timeline for the next project. When are we thinking? What have we learned from this? Like, no. It's like she does the show, she gets her reviews, and like a year from now, when she is like bored again and like needs validation or attention, that's when she'll just very quickly, within like a month, pull together whatever she's going to pull together.
Okay. I love this. All right, yes, your plan with the bartender is solid, and I'm gonna eagerly await the update. And I'm literally gonna go and like do the math on what I think this lady spent for her show and how much she made because I have time since I'm unemployed now, and I'm very curious. Okay, I did see Honora. I did enjoy it. However, I am a salty former sex worker and I have so many issues with Sean Baker and his obsession and fetishizing of sex work and the fact that poor Mikey Madison didn't even have an intimacy coordinator on set. But anyway, whatever. Those are voice memos for another day. Um, for me, because I was dancing at like 26, 25, 26, 27, something like that. And because I was like a very baby dancer, I don't think I would have gone on a date with somebody I met at the club. And actually, a dude came into the club like my first week that literally remembered me from the Fox Point Boys and Girls Club as a child. He was my age, but still, I literally had so much makeup on. My hair was straight. I was in some ugly, like gymnast type outfit that the lady at the stripper store convinced me was a sexy outfit to buy. And that dude recognized me, and it kind of like shook me a little bit. There's like a whole special place for people that strip in their hometown. Because let me tell you, it's a lot different when you pick up and you go to New York. But when you're from Providence, Rhode Island, and you're stripping at the only strip club, well, actually no, there are a bunch of strip clubs now, but you know, the most major strip club in Providence, oh my god. But now older Alexis, who has dabbled in other forms of sex work, and my friend, who is also a former sex worker, has a boyfriend right now who is very, very wealthy that she met at the strip club years ago, and then they reconnected. So older Alexis, like 28 to now 33 Alexis, most definitely. If you're cute and we meet at the strip club and you're actually good to the dancers and you were tipping and we were vibing and you asked me out, yep, I would go out with you. Yep, I sure would. It's like you think about it, there are so many friggin' broke losers that we meet at coffee shops and at bars and whatever. And like, whatever. Okay, people are broke everywhere. You can meet somebody in friggin' the Wall Street Exchange, and they can still be broke. But I think it depends on how you behave in the strip club. If somebody was in the strip club and they were hot and they asked me out and they like weren't tipping and or they were like drunk and acting a fool and being embarrassing, absolutely not. But yeah, like if I was brave enough back then, I would have. And if I was still dancing now, I absolutely would. Okay, and now this is proof. Like if we watch this tomorrow and Honora wins, I'm gonna be like, you called it.
So I recently met this guy in New York who I'm a huge fan of. I have a massive crush. It's a good thing he lives in New York, or like it would be trouble. But one of the kind of I don't want to say it's annoying because it's going to make me sound like a jerk to say this is annoying. But like so far, I've known him for a year, and he is right about everything. Like every opinion that he ever has, or like anything he ever guesses about, he's right. And he's not obnoxious about it. Like, he doesn't rub it in anyone's face. But he's been right about a few things that, like, were really big surprises. And one of the things he's been saying forever was that Mikey was going to win Best Actress, and that Enora was going to win Best Picture, and that Timothy was going to win Best Actor. And I was like, no, like, you're insane. And like it just wasn't like tracking that way. And he kept saying, no, like the data is there. Like if you sort of look at the history and the behavior patterns of Oscar voters, like anytime there's an actress who has not swept all the major categories, usually it goes to whoever the lead actress is in the Best Picture winner. And so like that's likely going to be Honora. And he pointed out that like in the beginning, Honora was like the front runner, and then like because it came out so early, like it just kind of lost buzz because people were like looking for new shiny objects, but like it was the front runner. And he's like, everything else is just has some sort of controversial opinion attached to it. And like we can talk about Amelia Perez, and and he's like, and I think like Honora just hasn't really had any sort of like major scandal other than like the intimacy coordinator thing, which I have thoughts on. And he's like, so I think it's going to be Honora. And I still think he could be wrong about that, even though he's never been wrong about anything. But I still am pulling for Demi. But he said Timmy, like he's dead set it's going to be Timmy. And Timmy won the SAG. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, has he been right again? Because I was like, no, it's got to be Adrian. It has to be Adrian Brody. It has to be. But I don't know. So also on the intimacy coordinator thing, it's very interesting because I watched that interview with her and Pamela, and part of me just feels like there's this weird thing happening on Twitter where you actually have a lot of like theater people on Twitter or like former TV movie people on Twitter, and then you have like the people who actually like do film and TV. I feel like aren't like who are like actively doing it all the time aren't on there as much. And the people that I saw responding to that interview when she was like, we didn't have an intimacy coordinator, were a lot of people who, to me, seemed like they were like they didn't watch the full interview and what she had to say. And also, and like there's things you can have against Sean Baker for sure, like you said. Like there's qualms to be had. My thing about the issue with her saying that was like, as people have pointed out, like she's not a young girl. She's a woman in her like mid-20s. I think she's like mid to maybe upper 20s. And the way she described it made sense to me, which she was like, I just didn't want another person in the room. Like even like I trust Sean, and he's the only one I wanted in the room. And like there were going to be other people anyway. Like there was going to be the cameraman, there's going to be the other actor. And she's like, I felt like if anything went south, I was totally fine to like speak up and say something, but like I felt in that moment that if I had the choice, like I didn't want it. And I was like, well, it's sort of like what we're talking about, like, and obviously the other actor agreed, but I'm like, and I thought there was like a lot of inherent also sexism in the discussion because after she said that, everybody latched onto her. And I was like, why didn't anybody go ask the male actor, like, did he want somebody? Or like, was like the idea that like he wouldn't in any way be injured or upset or made uncomfortable or taken advantage of, to me was like very telling. But also, it got me thinking about intimacy coordination in general and how like it's strange to me that I guess maybe more so in film and TV, and again, like this is your area, but like it's strange to me that like sex scenes are treated like dance, where it's like, well, we're gonna write down that like there's a dance, and then when we get on set, we'll figure out what the dance is gonna be. Because to me, I'm like, there's no reason that a sex scene has to be that way. You know, like I did Angels years ago, and in Angels, there's a bunch of really intimate and also violent moments, and they are very, very, very clearly spelled out as to what is supposed to happen, how it is supposed to happen, how the characters feel about what's happening. Like it is a blueprint. So there would never be any there'd never be any room to like for somebody to manipulate that or take advantage of it or do something that they shouldn't be doing or like it just wouldn't, like if you were doing that play and you just follow the script, then like there might be things that you're uncomfortable with, but like there's nothing where you can be like, I think he's making me do this just because he's a creep. Like, because it's all there.